Hey friends, Jonathan here, and today we're going to be talking about the three main phases of strength training and the different adaptations they give your body. Just to be clear, by strength training I mean resistance training, which is really dumbbells, barbells, cable machines, calisthenics like push-ups and pull-ups, whatever it is that actually causes your body to develop some muscle growth. Now there's obviously cardio exercise, which is like running and cycling, different thing. We're not going to be covering that today. Today we're talking about resistance training. So in resistance training, the first adaptation that we go for, the first phase of resistance training, is what we call muscular endurance. This is where we're using a light weight, but we're going for a repetition range of about 15 to 25. And this is designed to increase your muscle's ability to hold tension for a long period of time. So we call it muscular endurance. It's basically, let's say I was working on my delts, on my shoulders, I would do an exercise that I could do a good number of repetitions with, still felt challenging to the muscles, but I could do, again, 15 to 25. And I could do it with good form, good control, make sure I'm feeling that area. And that's going to help to develop the ability of that muscle to have longevity in its engagement. So after we've developed that, we move on up into what we consider to be more of the strength training phase. In the strength training phase, there's sort of two smaller phases that you could break that up into, so I'll share that. The first phase would be what they call hypertrophy. And this is where you're using a little bit heavier of a weight than you were using before, but not your max weight or anything close to that. This is about the 6 to 12 rep range. And this is where you're trying to actually build the size of the muscle. It's what they call hypertrophy, where the muscle cells actually swell in size and you actually see the bigger muscles. And that's a lot of what you'll see bodybuilders doing. They tend to spend a lot of time in that 6 to 12 range because their goal obviously is to get larger and to show more and to have more aesthetic from that. Now from there we move it into the max strength phase. The max strength phase is where we start to get really heavy, close to your max, maybe even up to the max. We do about 1 to 5 reps with a heavy weight. Now in this, because we're doing so few repetitions, in order to get the volume of the workout up, we have to do a lot of sets. So in the prior phase, in the hypertrophy, you might only do 3 or maybe 4 sets. In this phase, sometimes we get up to 6, 7, even up to 10 sets with a lot of rest in between. So these workouts might be a little bit longer, but they're designed to develop the maximum output, the maximum strength of your push, of your pull, of your legs, whatever area you're working on. From there, and I really like to stress that it's very important to do the first couple of phases there, the first 2 main phases, and go through that progress before we move in to what we call power training, which is the explosive ability, your ability to jump, to push fast, to throw a ball, any of those kind of things where we're really working on the accelerating force, not just the maximum strength, but how much strength can I exert very quickly. So this is where, jump squats, jumping push-ups, throwing a medicine ball, overhead, chest pass, anything that, and even, using rubber bands or cables and doing explosive rows, or even with dumbbells, all these kind of exercises where we're moving, again, with good control, with good form, but through an explosive range of motion. And that kind of rounds it out. So we basically start with building some muscular endurance, lighter weight, more reps. Then we move into our hypertrophy, building a little bit of size. That's a little bit more weight, a little bit less reps, 6 to 12 range. Then we move into max strength. That's that 1 to 5 rep range, long weight, lots of sets, lots of weight, and just really pushing that limit. And then from there, our body is prepped to start to move into some more explosive exercises, plyometrics, jumping on boxes, all that kind of stuff. So I hope this has been useful for you, and just remember to, wherever you're at, start there, work your way up. It'll pay dividends in the end by not getting injured and by just creating the groundwork that you need to really get to those higher stages, the max strength and the explosive. And those are fun and exciting, but we want to make sure that we get a good foundation in the first 2 phases before we start to move into that. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope you can use this, and I hope that you train smarter, not just harder, but do train harder too. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching.